Good evening, and welcome back. After a pretty long hiatus, with more of the historical order run, we're finally continuing, and yeah, we're also jumping into the next year, 1774. Getting very close now to the, actual American Revolution, and yeah, meeting all those famous characters too. With Connor actually really kind of like jumping around from one, important historical event to another. And yeah, Connor's just about to go out and actually perform his first proper assassination against William Johnson, one of the Templars, negotiating with the, native people living there about, I guess, the stretches of land they have to give up or are not willing to give up. So that's what we're diving in today. But yeah, welcome back. Hello there, Dr. Darling. Good evening. And how's it going? The Rooks are back. Welcome back, Mr. Crookfroy. How's your sister? That's basically what I heard going to London. Exactly that. Let me have your top hat. And your cane, of course. Calm as that one. But you're not gonna lie, after visiting London, I can't wait to actually jump back into Assassin's Creed Syndicate. But also in a weird way, Watch Dogs Legion. Even though it's not really my favorite of the Watch Dogs games. But I think it still did a pretty good job, recreating London. At least, like the landmarks and all of it. But yeah, we're not going to London today, though. We are going back to Davenport Homestead. Now with 30% completion here. And just about 10 hours played. And yeah, last time we recruited our first assassins. Cook, a crazy cook with a butcher's knife, and Duncan Liddell, the kid that Haven scared in the beginning in London, in the theater. But we're not going to be doing any contracts yet, I don't think, but I'm just going to check something though, because I did work out the order of the, assassination contracts. Because often they're connected to historical events. But it could be a similar situation to the Brotherhood missions in Brotherhood and Revelations, where they might take place early in history, but they're actually like difficulty level 5 or not available yet to do, or something like that. So we have to see if the difficulty here matches the kind of like historical order mostly, because if not, it might render certain missions undoable before our assassins become like a certain level. So I'm just gonna sift for the first mission here and when it would take place. So technically the first mission would be the Quebec Act, which isn't available yet. Let me see if Fort St. Jean is even like in my historical order list, because it might not be connected, so it might not be like in as something I have to do. Let me just check. Yep. So we have a situation. Basically, Fort St. Jean is supposed to take place in October 75. Whereas the Quebec Act takes place in the third quarter of 1774. So the order of the guild contracts doesn't match, I guess, the historical order. But I have to play it in this order. Which means for those two missions, the order doesn't matter. We're just gonna play them. Then we're looking for the next assassination contracts so we can do those in order. I will still try to kind of keep them in order whenever possible, but in this case I can't even do it, you know. One mission I have to play earlier than the other, yet they're historically reversed. But that's fine. I'm gonna try to make it work. You almost missed Shay Patrick Cormac. Yeah, I didn't miss him, I have to say. It's like literally the only character from Assassin's Creed I didn't miss while being away. I even missed Charles Lee more than I did miss Shay. Hello Vaora, welcome in. And good day. Yeah, it's been a while. Like 8 days or so since my last stream. But yeah, I was super busy and still kinda am. And I was also gone for a few days, going to London. So it was kind of like a mix of both. But yeah, really enjoyed London, I have to say. Amazing city to visit. Can definitely recommend. Yeah, London was really amazing. I love the architecture, you know, just like one of those cities you can walk around in and always find like a, you know, new interesting building or something with like lots of history. And it's also like very multi-layered, I think, in its architecture. So that's like, you know, as like a walkable city, it's pretty nice, I think. And you can also get around really well with the underground. Which is also pretty impressive, I have to say, like, you know, how far underground it actually is most of the time. And I also really loved the food and the markets. There's like so many marketplaces across London. And honestly, I haven't encountered one I didn't really like too much. So yeah. Definitely can recommend. Hello there, Officer Sheep. Welcome in. And thank you so much for the follow. I have been there, Aura. That's cool. A long time ago. So how old were you when you actually visited London? Like 17? Yeah. That's cool that you were like, you know, pretty much an adult. So I guess you have some pretty good memories of a place. Unless you party too much. Or you visited too many pubs. Yo, Shakes notes 33 now apparently. That's a perfect age to play Clair Obscur. If not now, then when? Hello Versomp, welcome in. And good evening. Yeah, it's going pretty good. I'm back after a short streaming break. But yeah, carry on with the historic order run. We're now in the year 1774. Getting deeper now into the American Revolution conflict soon. How are you doing? Did I meet the king? No, but I met the queen. Don't ask me how. You know, we actually went to like Buckingham Palace and stuff, and you know, Westminster. But yeah, I'm not like you know, super into the royals or anything like that. But still, like, you know, nice to see, and the royal gardens are like really beautiful and nice to walk around in. Did at least try parkouring your way into Buckingham Palace? Not gonna lie, the amount of times I stood in front of like a building and I was like, I climbed this, you know, like that's the viewpoint right here. Was unreal. It's just a bit weird when you have been to like a place so much in a game that's like realistically depicting it, you know, because Unity and Syndicate were like the first games to really have it like in a 1-to-1 ratio. So it really does feel like, you know, exactly the same, because it is the same in terms of like dimensions. And that's pretty cool, honestly. Like getting that feel for like how big those buildings are, and yeah. But yeah, I did also think about what's the best way to actually climb that building. But yeah, one of the first buildings I had with, what kind of like structures I guess, is the Tower Bridge. Something we see in the World War I Rift in Syndicate, you know, when it's fully finished. Where kind of like take on contracts and stuff. As the granddaughter of Jacob Fry. So we were like staying quite close to that, so we kind of like went constantly across that bridge. And it's like one of those bridges can also like, you know, climb pretty high and, you know, enjoy the view. I mean, that's fair enough, Aura. Sounds like you got the partying sorted out in Amsterdam and Paris then. But yeah, I can definitely do some decent shopping in London, that's for sure. We got some pretty nice places. Exactly, Zomb. Yeah, it's like the perfect age to go play it. Exactly, Aura. Like, who needs VR when you have Assassin's Creed? Or even better, Assassin's Creed in VR. Not gonna lie, the Assassin's Creed Nexus game, like if I would actually have like a VR machine, then I wouldn't mind actually playing that. Because it doesn't look half bad. And people who have played it have said that it's actually quite nicely feeling in terms of like the stove and like even parkour. Oh, very nice, Zomb. Oh yeah, dude. That sounds like a nice time you had there with all those games. I hope you enjoyed Ghost of Yotei. Was it everything you dreamed it would be? And Dispatch looks like such a fun game. Well, I guess it's a bit more like of a cinematic type of game. Like more telltale leaning. But I really like the presentation of it and the voice acting and writing. And GG's on getting a clear beat there. I still haven't fought Clea or Simon, but also haven't touched Claire Obscure in like close after I finish it, pretty much. But yeah, I'm doing well. Been like pretty busy, unfortunately. I mean, it's alright, but kind of wish I had more time for like streaming and stuff. And yeah, but also had a nice time because I've been away visiting London, so definitely enjoyed that. Was my first time being there and kind of like something I wanted to do for like a long time now. So it was very cool, like seeing it in person. Oh yeah, Zomb didn't enjoy Nexus then. Yeah, that's fair. I guess it's not for everyone. I kind of wonder how I would actually like it. I feel like it's probably a bit weird, you know, not being able to kind of like move the way that the character actually ends up moving in the game. Because it's kind of difficult replicating, you know, like parkour in VR. But yeah, I do wonder how it would actually feel like playing it myself. Coming from Canada and bringing just one hair meat, poor Connor. Yeah. It's not the best return, is it? But hey, it's not about the hair meat, it's about the experience. Quite literally, it's about the 40 XP. Yeah, definitely was. Like, it's a pretty amazing town, you know? Like, so much history and so many landmarks to see, which hide their own, you know, history and events and places. But yeah, so since I can't actually do those missions here in order, I'm just gonna start on Quebec and do Fort Saint Jean, even if it takes place technically in 75, but the Quebec Act takes place now, so I'm gonna just get started on this. Major Guy Carleton is set to relieve the siege of Fort Saint Jean right north and make sure he never arrives. Okay, so the success rate doesn't significantly, you know, get better here by having a second person, so I'm just gonna assign Stefan solo. And let's have a look for the next non-Quebec mission here in historical order. Yeah, that would be this one here. It's a free difficulty 1 though. So we assign Duncan. He has a 1% chance to succeed. Yeah, I feel like it's another Brotherhood Revelations situation where either the order doesn't match what we have to do, like it's literally impossible, or it's like a 1% chance of success. You know, not really feasible. Okay, in that case, we're just gonna do them in any order, as long as they're doable. Powder raids. Similar to what's happening in Massachusetts, the locals have been raiding and stockpiling munitions. Make the rounds and ensure the weapons are safe. Okay, So my assassins are dealing with that. Meanwhile, we can go ahead and talk to Achilles and consult about William Johnson. Ah, gotcha. Zombie, yeah. Yeah, that sounds tricky to kind of like get used to. It's probably like a system you have to spend like lots and lots of time with to really get the hang of it. That's what I heard as well about Yotei, you know, that it's like a really decent like game, like gameplay wise especially. But yeah, the narrative, people seem to have enjoyed Tsushima a bit better, and Jin's story. I'm definitely curious about playing it once it gets out on PC. Oh yeah, Aura. Almost done with Cyberpunk then. Oh yeah. Are you doing like all the missions in the game or something? Or are you just kind of like focusing on the main story? I'm really looking forward to continue and get back to that game. I've yet to play the DLC for it. Okay, Stefan actually succeeded here. So he can carry on with the Battle of Quebec. Richard Montgomery is foolishly leading a colonial force on an assault of Quebec. He cannot be dissuaded. Divert his forces to stop the attack by whatever means necessary. Ah yeah, Duncan is also ready. Nice. He also succeeded. An independent government. New Hampshire is moving to establish an independent government for the duration of a war to better expedite political proceedings in these troubled times. It is wise, but while power is being distributed, the Templar brokers are never far behind. Attend the elections and be vigilant. Ah, gotcha, Aura. I actually had no idea that the DLC took place in between the second act. But that's cool that you can like throw it in there. But yeah, the next time I play Cyberpunk will probably be as part of a timeline, honestly. And then I can just include the DLC whenever it happens, like according to the story chronology. But yeah, it's supposed to be pretty good. And I mean, Idris Elba. That's a pretty cool name to have attached to a game. Gotcha, Zomb. Yeah, that's the tricky part sometimes, you know, it's just like how much is going on at a time that you have to kind of like deal with and that your brain has to comprehend. Like it definitely gets overwhelming quickly. Yeah, that's fair, Aura. I also didn't think I did like the best choices at all times in Cyberpunk, but I kinda lived with it. But I was definitely curious about like what other outcomes, you know, might have happened if I had chosen differently. Gotcha, Zomb. Yeah. But that's cool that, you know, you got her beaten. GG's on that. Hello there, Afro. Welcome in. Yeah, where's Shardsley? For now, we're looking for William Johnson, but almost ready to hunt him down. So you already finished with Shardsley. Good riddance, that is. He deserved it.
It is done.
Johnson is dead?
No. He retreated when we destroyed the T.
Only to hatch some new scheme, I'm sure. You should have killed him.
There was no need.
Time will tell if you speak the truth.
Ganondokon, why are you here? Has something happened?
William Johnson has returned with all the money required to buy our land. He meets with the elders as we speak. I have begged him to resist, but I fear he shall have his way unless you intervene.
How is this possible? We destroyed the T.
The Templars are nothing if not resourceful. You should have heeded my warning.
Please, you have to stop him.
Of course. Can you tell me where they're meeting?
As Achilles said, time will tell. And time has told us. Yeah, some of the naval missions are really tough. Especially if you go for the full objectives. That's something I'm looking forward to. Especially the storm one, how that was caught. Where you had to sink like the big ships with the weak points. Or like there's a massive storm happening. Oh, Connor's so innocent. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing with Connor, you know, he definitely might be a bit naive, I guess you could say, but he's also a very idealistic type of character, you know. He's still hoping for the best and trying to see the best in people for now, but doesn't always pan out, I guess. Yeah, my assassins are so resourceful and successful. What's happening? Can I use my assassins early on to just shit the bucket and not succeed? Constantly get injured and stuff. But hey, it's probably still happening at some point. Yeah, the original AC3 doesn't look half bad. I have to say, like, revisiting this game now twice since the remastered version, like this original version, I definitely would prefer the OG version. Even if there's some gameplay benefits to have in the remastered, but I don't know. It definitely changed some things about the looks that you're like constantly witnessing and seeing, but doesn't really enhance the game, I wouldn't say.
Crookendance, 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 crookendance.
Hello Vermita, welcome in dude. Thank you so much for the raid. And welcome in raiders. How was your stream today? I was lurking on you earlier. I hope you had a good time with Death Stranding. And thank you also so much for the resub as well, dude. Thank you so much. I hope you had a good time. I was like about to give you a shout out, but my stream deck is currently striking. I think it's because I haven't streamed so long, but I have to regain permissions to my stream deck. Let me solve that out real quick. Okay. Yeah, for anyone who has checked out Amita's channel, definitely recommend doing so. He's a great streamer, playing like lots of really cool games that we also like to play over here, including the AC games, but also currently he's doing some Death Stranding. He's also a big fan of Witcher 3. His most ever playthrough of Witcher 3 was, or most recent playthrough was 100% no hard run, which was truly insane because it also had no fast travel on top of it. And yeah, he also played some Cyberpunk recently, definitely some CDPR stuff. And yeah, he also loves to play the games with 100%, so usually going for the achievements and, you know, for checklists of the games. Hello there, Kelly boy, welcome in as well. How's it going? Yeah, that's so annoying, Afro, you know, the fact that they haven't actually kept the OG version to buy. That they fully replaced it with a remaster. I guess the only way would be to kind of like get it for console as like a physical version. But I'm not sure if there would be any kind of like keys left to buy for AC3 OG. Hello Vashella, welcome in as well, dude. Good evening. Yeah, doing pretty good. Returned from my London trip, which I really enjoyed. Thank you for the lurk. I hope you have a good time with Ghost of Tsushima. Best of luck on the multiplayer grind. Yeah, honestly, Afro, some aspects about the Navo and AC3 I even prefer to Black Flag. For example, the you know, different weaponries you have, like the fact you can completely immobilize an enemy ship by destroying the you know, mast and everything. It's pretty cool. I do also love kind of like the very like fine like grape shots or what they're called against smaller ships. And overall, it feels like maybe more realistic and less arcadey in a way. But that's not necessarily a good thing in terms of like how much fun you're having with it. For example, I still prefer Black Flag's Navo just because it plays a lot better. But yeah, AC3 is definitely quite immersive. So, Aura, I had kind of like a bit of a mixed build, I guess, but I definitely went for San de Vista, however it was called. And I focused heavily on a single like revolver slash like gun with lots of headshot damage. So kind of like, I guess a bit like Johnny, like Silverhand, you know, like when you play him, he has actually like a similar playstyle in a way, like with single handgun and kind of like lots of headshot damage. And for close range, I use the samurai sword and like a katana, and I did also use the sniper for like long range. So it's kind of like a combination of those three. Yeah, for sure, Afro. You know, like getting the perfect strike, like you say. It's pretty satisfying in AC3, you know, kind of like the, you know, reloading, like also sounds and kind of like really concentrating on the aiming, you know, not just spamming, you know, the buttons. I'm a bit torn on the lighting in AC3, I have to say. Like, there's some parts in the remastered where I quite like the lighting. But it definitely makes other kind of like brighter spots like super exaggerated. Like light sources look very unnatural as a result. Glad to hear, Mita. Glad you're doing well. The stream was great. You made some good progress with the game. That's good to hear, Amita. Glad to hear it. Hope you're having fun with it so far. I've yet to play Death Stranding, but it looks like a really kind of like unique game. I can definitely see the appeal to it. And I do like when games kind of like focus on traversal as a game mechanic. But yeah, I'm doing good. Getting back into the historical order run. We now have reached the next year with 1774. So getting deeper into the American Revolution conflict here. Jesus, zombie. Yeah, that sounds really annoying. Especially the fact that Simon can like wipe out your entire party without being able to revive. That sounds like Renoir kind of like vanishing one of your party members just like for your entire party. No verse of a shout out Iva Mita. Yeah, I think one of those days I'm gonna go for the platinum in Claire Obscure, and then I will also have to eventually beat Claire and Simon. But I think that's gonna be a while away. Yeah, for sure, Afro. There's definitely aspects about AC3 that make it feel quite nice if you kind of like care about, you know, realism, I guess. I didn't hear that it actually has had a record, Zom, but I did hear about all the nominations and, you know, seeing how many it actually was and were. But yeah, with how much kind of like heat, you know, Expedition has gotten. And with how beloved it is, it really would have surprised me if it, you know, didn't get any nominations. But the fact it has gotten so many is not just due to its popularity, but, you know, because it's actually a pretty amazing game. But yeah, he is hoping that they definitely get it in the departments where the game deserves it. Oh, very nice, Aura. That's really cool. Yeah, I kind of wanted to get into the hacking, but I tried it out at the start of my playthrough, but I wasn't really feeling the hacking whatsoever. Even though I usually quite like it in games. For some reason, I didn't enjoy the hacking so much, so I kind of like respect my character or something and didn't really focus on it anymore. But I saw Amita play quite a bit with hacking and it looked like really powerful actually, so maybe I kind of missed out, honestly. Yeah, for sure, Afro. Getting that weak spot review is like quite tricky, especially if it's required for like a, you know, full objective or something. Nice, Amita. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, it really does look quite immersive in its own way. Did I have Cunebert's ale with roasted lamb, cinnamon, blueberry peas? Yes, and it was my last meal I ever had. I actually didn't, no. We didn't really have too many kind of like classic British dishes, because we do actually make them at home quite often, and they're kind of like, you know, stuff you can recreate pretty nicely. The only like really British thing we had in London were actually sausage rolls. One of the supposedly best in town, which was actually quite good. And it's really funny because we were looking for like Thai places, because London actually has lots of really good Thai food. And we don't really have it a lot here actually, like over here it's more lots of Vietnamese and Chinese and Korean places, but not so many Thai places. And I found like a Thai place or like a Thai restaurant that was serving food in like a classic English pub. So it was kind of like a mix of like your classic English pub with like sports and stuff. But on the other side of the building, they were like preparing and serving Thai food to the people in the pub. And honestly, it was like the best combo. I mean, what do you want more than, you know, sit in an English pub and enjoy some Thai food? It doesn't get more London than this. Some proper culture melting there. How many missions have I done for Bido? 2, going by the dates. I haven't done any against Bido yet, honestly. But let me check when the first will be. Right, the first is the chase, isn't it? So this is a bit of a tricky one, because in the game, right, in the game they're saying that the date is 1773. But according to historical research, it actually can't have been in 1773. It's actually a mission historically taking place in 75. And that's why it was kind of like placed later in the timeline. But there's actually a few times where the on-screen display of dates in the game isn't matching the actual historical dates. So those ones are a bit tricky to figure out. But yeah, those missions don't take place before 75. Even the ones that say 73. But yeah, it's a bit confusing, I would say. Gotcha, Aura. Yeah, that might have been my mistake, because I wasn't really like too much into it early on. But yeah, if it gets like super powerful later, then maybe I should have stuck with it. Oh, did you meet her? Hell yeah, dude. GG's on getting the platinum in Cyberpunk. I'm really glad you enjoyed it so much. Especially, since the first time you mentioned, was like not the best experience, so it didn't really continue. But I'm really glad that, your revisit to the game was a good one. Just killing people with a single thought. That's how you do it? A deadly thought of that. Yeah, so that's pretty, pretty amazing that it got nominated for so many. It's definitely interesting, what's that's kind of like a discussion currently going on, right? It's like, what is considered indie, what is considered AAA? I mean, AAA is like pretty clear cut out, I guess, in a way. But sometimes even games with like smaller budgets, people might think of them as like, full-on like blockbuster games. But yeah, for Expedition 33, it's kind of like a bit of a middle ground, I guess, but it's certainly not AAA. And I guess anything that isn't at the Game Awards is kind of like indie, independent in a way. We don't really know about the actual budget of Clair Obscur either. I think it's rumored to be like about 40 million. Wait, what? But yeah, it's rumored to have like had a budget of maybe like 40 million plus or so, which would be, of course, difficult to compare against, like an indie game with like a budget of like 1 million or something. But either way, I definitely think, Clair Obscur has been an amazing production, like in terms of also like, being like the first game of its studio and, trying what they did and succeeding in it is pretty amazing. Yeah, Afro, yeah, it's a bit confusing. But yeah, there's also gonna be reasoning for it, but I will get into that once I actually start doing the missions, because I have some historical kind of like footnotes for changes in the timeline and like also providing a bit of background info depending on some missions. But yeah, it kind of has to do with the Vineyard, and British privateers historically haven't really started threatening it before a certain time in 75. Because before that point, the Vineyard area has been kind of like neutral. The Giant and the Storm will be very fun. Very fun. It's my favorite naval mission. I remember the first time I did AC 300%, I really, like, that was the mission I struggled the most on. I think by the end it took me 15 tries, something. Like embarrassingly a lot of tries to get it done. Just because I had to work out like a very specific strategy. And it was like so easy to fail just because you ended up sinking the ship instead of creating the weak point. And then when I actually retried it since then, it's usually something I get done in like 2 or 3 tries maximum. Because I do have a tactic now that usually ends up working quite nicely, but it's still such a finicky mission that it's not a guarantee. And the storm is also like so unpredictable at times. But you also have to get a bit lucky with it. Damn, Aura. Yeah, that's some dark hex there. You can't even do that in Watch Dogs. You can, however, attach a bomb to the enemy's phone and let that explode after a couple seconds. Yeah, for sure, Amita. I'm definitely glad I also waited with Cyberpunk until like a few years after launch. Because when I started, it was like just about the time of like Cyberpunk 2.0 or something. When we did like the first, you know, major update. Osalova Moro, welcome in, dude. Thank you so much for the 78 months of resubbing. Those are some mad lad numbers there. Thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate it. How is it going? Happy belated birthday to you. I saw that you did kind of like a bit of a celebration, did you?
Also some months from me.
And yeah, dude, the Quebec Act. It's like, please no. I don't need the Quebec Act. I had enough of that already. I had to play Shadows recently. That was enough Quebec acting. Ah, right, Afro. Yeah, that one can also be a bit tricky, for sure. The final bit of mission. Hello there as well, Ronnie. Welcome in, dude. And thank you also so much for the 61 months of resubbing as well. Yeah, that's a few months right there. Thank you so much, Ronnie. How's it going, dude? Good to see you. How are your heads? Oh, that's really cool, Moro. Bet you have also like the entire week off. Definitely hope you get to enjoy it. What have you been playing recently, actually? Are you doing more Fallout? I think that was the last game I saw you play. Also, thank you for the 100 bits as well, Ronnie. Cheers, dude. The Aquila is gonna devour all your fort money. Yeah, like the Aquila upgrading is quite expensive indeed. I definitely take it in like batches. It's better to have like a bit of money that you can also invest into like trading and crafting and stuff. Ronnie, things are going better. Your appendix burst and you had to get surgery and got sepsis and wound up in the hospital for a while. Damn, dude. I'm so sorry to hear, Ronnie. That really does suck. How are you doing, Bo? I hope you're doing better. And that you've recovered. But that sounds really serious. I was actually wondering because I haven't, seen you in a while. And, yeah, so sorry that you had to go through that, dude. A very cool moral. That's good to hear. And playing some Mario and Sim games offline. Interesting. As it happens, I'm also playing a Mario game offline. I'm playing the Super Mario for the Wii U with Levi, like we're doing like a co-op playthrough. Yeah, for sure, Zomb. You know, like in spirit and, you know, also beyond that, it's definitely, you know, pretty commendable game. I still remember like the first gameplay that was showcased for, you know, Clair Obscur. And immediately it kind of seemed to me like it was really, you know, uniquely feeling, you know, of course was like inspired by like other major games, but really, you know, going their own route there and really had a unique vision. And yeah, it's kind of cool, you know, seeing when developers have the freedom to kind of like, you know, write the stories they want and create the gameplay mechanics they want, don't have to cater, you know, to like what some shareholders might, you know, tell them to kind of like incorporate. I feel like those games are definitely, you know, it's good when they get more traction. Exactly, like, you know, it's a full-on passion project. You can definitely tell, also when you see like the behind the scenes. That's really good to hear, Ronnie. I'm glad to hear that, you know, you're back onto it and that you're also recovering. But yeah, I can like only imagine, you know, the kind of scare. So how did you like, I don't really have like much experience with that, you know, happening. Like, how did you realize that your appendix did burst? It's like, is it like something that you immediately like recognize? I mean, you did work in like medicine in a way, didn't you, for a while? Like in like the ambulance and stuff. So I reckon you might even have some experience with that. You're playing the 3D Land and for 3DS for the first time? Oh, very cool. Yeah, I wouldn't mind actually having like a 3DS or like classic Nintendo DS. I was like always so jealous of my mates who had them back then. Playing like Mario Kart and stuff. It was such fun sometimes, you know, like when you had these like massive kind of like gatherings of like everyone playing Mario Kart on the Nintendo DS in like local multiplayer. Ronnie, dude, thank you also so much for the 500 bits as well, dude. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you also for completing the hype train as well. So you had side pain and a slight fever. You went in and they did a CAT scan. They thought it was a gallbladder at first. Then when the CT showed the appendix was the issue, you went to emergency surgery. You were in the hospital for 5 days on tons of IV antibiotics. Jesus, dude. But that's really good that, you know, you immediately took action and, you know, went, you know, into the hospital. Makes you wonder how many people, you know, might not even, you know, might just think, yeah, it's just, you know, like a, you know, like fever or whatever. I'm just gonna stay in and try to cure it out. That's really good that, you know, you went in there. I know if I had like a fever like that, I probably would, you know, stay home and be like, yeah, you know, like I'm just gonna be fine tomorrow. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, you know? So it's really good that you immediately took action there. It's definitely a lesson to take to heart, honestly. Like for me, for example, you know, like hearing about it. Not to take it too easy. But really glad, dude, that, you know, that didn't happen, and that you're doing better now. I hope you feel back to 100% soon. And thank you, Moro, also for giving the shout out there to Ronnie as well. Yeah, for anyone who didn't know, Ronnie's a pretty amazing streamer. He's really fun. He kind of like does a thing where he's wearing the hats that are kind of like associated with the game he's playing. For example, one of the favorites and recent played game is Red Dead Redemption 2. So he usually goes with a cowboy hat and also likes to steal the heads of enemies if he can. So got definitely his head game sorted. And yeah, he's also very knowledgeable. He's a scientist and also a writer. So you can definitely have some really interesting conversations about all kinds of topics if you're interested. And yeah, thank you again so much for the support and also for the hype train as well. Thank you again. And yeah. Also everyone, you know, just for being here. I really appreciate it. So we were stopping here at the assassination contracts. We kind of learned that the historical order of the missions doesn't actually match the in-game order of the missions. Like the Quebec Act that we talked about earlier. It takes place a year before Fort St. Jean. So we're kind of just doing them in whatever order at this point and just getting them completed. Because we can't play them in order. And yeah, next we have action at Trois-Rivières. Brigadier General William Thompson has set out to liberate Quebec from British rule. The territories have never asked to be freed and are not part of the colonies. Follow the campaign and guarantee the people of Trois-Rivières are heard. And we have a Patriot escape. Woodbury Langdon is a New Hampshire statesman being held against his will in New York by General Howe. Go to New York and help Woodbury escape back to Portsmouth. You have another book coming out soon? Or do you? That's cool. What is it gonna be about, Ronnie? Is it like similar to the most recent thing you were sharing? With the, was it like horror stories? Like short stories? Secret mission in the Quebec area. Infiltrate Ubisoft's offices and destroy Odyssey's and Shadow's source code. Delete every source of it. But keep Syndicate War. That can, you know, that can stay. My assassins are rank 1 and 0. They're still, yeah, I just kind of like basically started doing the missions today. So they're still very early on. Okay, so one thing we can now unlock is actually the Encyclopedia of a Common Man. It's where I kind of like observe the homesteaders doing their task and learn about the different occupations that people had.
Connor, it has occurred to me that the times we live in will be looked upon by future generations with a certain degree of scrutiny, no matter the outcome. With that in mind, I think it valuable to record the goings-on around the homestead. A true log of how people lived during this time of transition. Something to help color the portrait. What do you think?
When I find a moment, I will try.
Very good.
I think it's pretty cool that you have this, you know, to kind of like observe your homesteaders and learn about what they're doing. It just can be a bit tedious and annoying, you know, because sometimes I like to do anything but an activity that you haven't observed yet. So that can be a bit time intensive at times. But in general, it's just going to be something I would do on the side, you know, and that way it will kind of like spread out a bit and we won't have to do it like back to back. Look at that. All empty except for one. The legend himself. Ezio Auditore da Firenze. Which I'm not gonna wear because it's not... I can interact here. But nothing happens. Because it's not very historically accurate, I guess, you could say. But it's pretty cool. This whole like painting war actually changes depending on what point of the story you're up to. And the notes and like some of them being like crossed out and stuff. It's kind of like an actual target board that updates, you know, in the game world, not in a menu. Now. I guess if it were up to you, Moro, then Syndicate source code would also have to be deleted. Or at least heavily altered. Ah, gotcha, Ronnie. That's really cool. It's doing another horror short story. But yeah, once you're ready, definitely feel free to chat on, you know, Discord and the promotion channel. How long does it take to make them? It can definitely be quite a bit, I would say. Not so much for the early ones, but you also have to get the ones in New York, which happens a bit later, so they take, you know, an extra amount of time. Also, we have 2 Achilleses. Classic. I think eventually they spawn even more Achilleses, but I could be wrong. But there was a bug about like multiple Achilleses spawning. That is correct, Moro. Yeah, these days I'm only playing the OG version. Yeah, with time I kind of realized I do prefer this one, I think. You know, in its like vibe and looks. The remaster versions for most of the AC games are kind of like changed too much for me personally sometimes about the feel. And there's also like smaller things that kind of like annoy me, like, I don't know, the subtitles, you know, being like so big as they are, taking so much of the screen even on like small. The fact that they've also like always like desynced sometimes, or they have like the wrong person. Yeah, the faces look a lot better, I think, in the OG version. The lighting looks more natural. But I would definitely say that the remaster is better in terms of like gameplay, you know. It does have additions that this game didn't have. It, I guess, objectively, you know, gives you more opportunities, and hence it makes it perhaps better, I guess you could say. But yeah, for me, I don't mind that too much. And I think I'm just gonna stick to the OG version for now. Ah yeah, we have Norris now, so we can actually buy some clay. Oh yeah. Clay Kismeric. We can also buy some iron ore. And sand. I do love sand. The Homestead setup and the relationships you make are one of your favorite parts about this game. Same here, Ronnie. Yeah, to this day, it's still one of my favorite kind of like home-based systems in the AC series. And there's been like a lot of them. But yeah, it's definitely the one that for me feels the most natural, you know, like, as you say, like having actual relationships with, you know, the characters that come to live and trade there. And the way that unlocks like more things to do, you know, around the homestead in its economy. And seeing the place kind of like, you know, grow visually and, you know, also like in its people. And seeing also relationships between the homesteaders evolve, you know, not just between Connor and them, but also between themselves. Some of them, you know, getting kids or like marrying, standing up for each other. It's definitely pretty cool, like the community thought here. In a way, I guess it's kind of like an ideal colony, you know. Where people live in harmony. That's definitely a bit of an isolated place as well. Yeah, Beto is also down there. It's quite interesting because if you're not really caring about the naval stuff, and you won't even, you know, maybe realize what Beto really is. He does technically appear, you know, in like one main story mission when he talks to Church, but that's about it. We're letting a bit of time pass in between, you know, the last kind of like main story cutscene and us actually going to go for William Johnson by playing one pack deck mission. That is, if I have enough for the next letter here. Yeah, what's better than one Achilles, I guess. But yeah, there's a bug where they spawn like indefinitely, I think, if you wait enough time. Exactly, Afro. Where's Shardsley? He's about to make his own luck. That is until Connor finds him.
Where is Charles Lee gone?
Yeah, that's definitely fair, Moral. The lighting changes are quite a lot in the remaster versions.
My own look.
Yeah, flints would be handy, but unfortunately I can't craft anything at the moment. Oh yeah, Ronnie, you like wedding stories, do you? So what's your favorite wedding story then? Also, what's up with my assassins being so successful? Like I've never seen it before. Especially Stefan, like he always sucks so bad in my previous playthroughs. Now he's like succeeding in every mission he's attempting. Has he found Charles Lee yet? We only have seen him very shortly at the Boston Tea Party, but that's about it. Exactly. One Achilles? How about a second one? And you gotta also have a Midnight Achilles. The Quebec Act. British Parliament has passed the Quebec Act, granting vast parts of Ohio Territory to the newly founded province. People in the Ohio Territory are outraged. Do what you can to see that the people of Quebec are not hauled into a war that they didn't ask for. See moral? Even the people in Ohio are outraged about the Quebec Act. So I guess it's not just you. I am people. I am Ohio. I speak for the people of Ohio. Templar Scouts. Templar couriers have been spotted in and around Portsmouth. Catch them and find out what they are up to. Sounds like a job for Stefan. Okay, let's see if we get a second letter here.
Got some more? Let's have a look then. More keepers. Good on ya. I'd say that's worth another letter.
I will be back for the rest.
Letter? Who from?
A letter? For me? And my assassins are so good right now. What is happening? Oh no, that's still the previous notification. Never mind. A letter to Abel Owens. It has been a turn since we last tipped our tank guards together, and it will likely be a spell longer as I am in hiding off the coast of Massachusetts. I doubt this hour has ever been graced with a name. The king's men are breathing down my nape, and quarters are too close for comfort. What you will find in this package is a scroll of the greatest value to me, something that I hold dear above all the plunder and jewels that I have scattered about the globe. Something that must remain secret, and as such I must order you not to open it or read it. Carry it with you at all times and protect it, and what lies inside with your life until I find you. It's taken me longer than I anticipated to rid myself of those who stalk me, but you know as well as I, it is only a matter of time before I shake them for good. Be wary and wise. Captain William Kidd. Whenever you think of Charles Lee, now you think about Hamilton. Here's a line, I am General, we. I still have to see that one, but I heard so much about it. And I watched some other musicals of the guy behind Hamilton though. Didn't he do In the Heights? Wasn't that one of the ones that he was responsible for? Yeah, that's the one that I watched. Which was pretty good, I would say. I'm not like a huge musical guy, but I enjoy that. I even make good suits. Who makes good suits? He did. Lin-Manuel Miranda. Right. Yeah, Levy kind of like introduced me to him. You saw in the Heights, it was terrible. That's fair enough too, Aura. Definitely fair enough too. That's the worst whatsoever, Mita. Definitely understandable, dude. I hope you have a good sleep. Thank you again so much for the raid earlier and for dropping in. And definitely hope you have a good work day too tomorrow. And again, for anyone who hasn't checked out the Mita's channel, definitely recommend doing so. At the moment, he's playing a few different games between Death Stranding, but also the Dark Pictures Anthology, The Devil in Me. And he also recently got the Platinum for Cyberpunk 2077. He's also a big fan of Assassin's Creed and The Witcher. So yeah, lots of great games to catch over there if you haven't checked them out before. And yeah, definitely catch you next time, Amita. Thanks again for being here. And no worries for the shoutout either. The Kingsmen, I gotcha now, Zomb. Yeah, they definitely do. I actually love the Kingsmen, like the movies. Well, especially the first one, but the second and the third were also pretty entertaining in their own regard. Although a bit wacky. But yeah, I quite love the first Kingsman especially. It's one of those movies that I watched for the first time and then immediately watched a few more times within like a week of first seeing it. Which I usually don't do with any movies, to be fair. Ah, yeah, that's right, Zomb. Yeah, you did mention that before, that Devil in Me was your favorite. Okay, so this is the letter leading to the Dead Man's Chest mission, which is gonna be the next one we're doing here. The second Peg Leg mission. The first was Fort Walcott. Brave the perilous cliffs to recover Kid's map.
Ship's graveyard's just around the point. Can't miss it. The men say Abel Owens was aboard one of the doomed vessels. If it's true, you'll find what's left of him here. Scavengers love the graveyard, so be on your guard.
You prefer the ship mechanics in Black Flag? That's definitely fair too. Overall, I have a better time with the Navy and Black Flag. It is a bit Arcadia feeling, but for the gameplay fun, I think that's a benefit for sure. But there's things I like about either game's Naval, I will say. Dead Chest Island. Not exactly a first date venue, this. Dead Chest Island is part of the British Virgin Islands, though it's an island in the same way that Pluto is a planet. It's really more of a big rock. However, I won't deny the place has an interesting name and an interesting history. According to legend, Edward Teach, better known as Blackbeard, visited the island and left 15 of his crewmen here as a punishment. Each crewman each had a bottle of rum and cutlass, and when Blackbeard returned, most of the men were dead. Maybe the rum was bad. Robert Louis Stevenson wrote a song about that story. You may have heard it. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum, 15 men on a dead man's chest. Of course, Stevenson wrote Dead Man's Chest, and the island's name is Dead Chest. But that's a rhythm of poetry for you. And I think the link is fairly clear. But yeah, that's just a classic song right there. Especially if you like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Something you will hear at least a few times. Haven't played this one in a while, should give it another chance sometime. Definitely do, Ronnie. I think it's a game that holds up really well. It's definitely not perfect by any means. It does have a lot of faults, I think, but I don't know. All the positives about it just make me love it. And I kind of like endure some of the bad stealth, for instance. I can kind of live with it because as long as I'm not doing a stealth challenge, you know, Connor's just a classic bruiser type of character, so I don't mind in this game not really playing too stealthy sometimes. Indeed, Morrow. Definitely an all-timer, this one. Ironically, it's a song that often is being sung by Master Gibbs in Pirates of the Caribbean, who also plays your first mate and the crewmaster, you know, in AC3.
If Abel Owen's ship wrecked around here, they must have been looking for something themselves.
Another cool thing about this game is that after playing it, you went to Boston and the old town part is really accurate. You would walk down the street and be like, oh, that's the roof I assassinated those guys from. I don't blame you one bit, Ronnie. That was me on the weekend going to London. It was like my first time visiting the city. And I spent so much time in Syndicate and Watch Dogs Legion. And in those games, you know, the ratio from like buildings to you is actually 1-to-1, so it's like super realistic with the dimensions. And it was quite surreal, you know, standing in front of like Tower Bridge and St. Paul's Cathedral and Buckingham Palace and stuff and being like, yeah, this is actually exactly how it, you know, feels like in the game. Standing in front of a building. But yeah, just pretty amazing, you know, how well some of the games actually recreate the cities and the landmarks and the kind of like feeling as well. I would love to actually visit Boston and New York someday too. Exactly, I've killed so many people on the street. Especially blighters.
Another ship. Scavengers.
Scavengers.
Put that down!
Piss off! I found it! 'Tis mine!
Stop!
You gotta stay within range of a target, 40 meters. We gotta perform running assassinations here.
What you carry is mine!
Nice try!
Not that easy.
Oh fuck. Already fucked up. I accidentally tapped the A button there.
Leave me be! I found it!
What you carry is mine!
What you carry is mine.
Nice try!
Not that easy.
Okay, first running assassination. second.
Why are you taking this? I've done nothing wrong.
Stop and give me what I came for!
What's wrong is mine, ratty punk.
Hand
That
it
one?
over.
Sorry, mate. Looks like you lost this treasure hunt.
Now we gotta also kill the target before we reach the cave.
Oh, gone.
There we go. We did it.
Near the wolves' abode.
I know, right, Aura? I'm way too rusty. Two tries is one try too many. The map to Monkey Island. Time to play it. Is Monkey Island 2 part of my alternative history plans? Not gonna lie, like, there's so many games I would love to include, but I eventually decided to take out again because it's too much leaning into alternative history. I mean, of course, you know, most of the games are alternative history in their own form, but some of them are not even, you know, trying to be like, you know, the same universe per se. For example, one game I was thinking about playing was The Order 1886. And there's many like elements about it that make it seem like it's part of its history, but then it also has like lots of steampunk and like, you know, some also mythical figures and stuff. And after doing a bit more research, I decided to actually take it out again. But yeah, Monkey Island, maybe when I actually do like a run focus on only alternative history games, then we will have a place there. But if not, then, you know, I can always just play those games on my own time, independent from it. But yeah, so with this Pegleg mission finished here, we can actually now make our way towards the next main story mission here. When it's time to actually get our first proper assassination target killed as well. With William Johnson. Been a long time coming. We first saw him... We did first see him in this game actually, but he did of course also appear in Rogue and in that timeline. I like the inside tooling on Monkey Island. That was really funny, I would say. It's very iconic. Even if you play it nowadays and you never saw the game before, it doesn't change anything about it not being iconic. I love the fact that Rod has an entire like insult command tree about the Monkey Island insults with like all the returns as well. I think it compiled most, if not all, of the insults and returns, like comebacks, within insult commands. And I wish I could do more Homestead missions, but I have to actually wait a bit longer here. I'm sorry, guys. I really wanna help you know, Warren and Prudence, but the timeline forbids. No, we failed our first mission, and it was the Quebec Act of all things. The Ohio people weren't successful. But at least we were successful hunting down the Templar scouts. That's something. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and try the Quebec Act yet again. This time with Stefan. Okay, so for the next main story mission here, we're of course jumping 6 months forward from, you know, the cutscene that we last watched. We did technically already have a 6-month passing there, you know, between those moments and within that cutscene. But yeah, we're now already in July of 1774 here. So quite a major time jump within this year. Oh, never mind, it's actually down here. But how about we grab this treasure and then make our way to the main story here. Johnson Hall. Sir William Johnson built Johnson Hall in 1763. Well, I say he built it. He had more than a little help. He had 60 slaves to do the manual labor, making him the biggest slaveholder in the north. The property is more homestead than house. There was a sawmill and a grist mill on the property, and tenant farmers worked the lands. The exterior is wood painted to look like stone, which is always a classy look. But the blockhouses you see on either side are actual stone, meant for defense. When the house was built, the French and Indian War had just ended, so it made sense to have the house ready for an attack. That, or William Johnson made some well-armed enemies in his business dealings. 60 slaves, huh? Proper Templar material here. Who would have thought? Hostile negotiations.
Zina ganya daradit kanusa de ne Johnsons yunja der rocksta. Guahigan zi wat ne ganun haradun hagedum.
Ta goder hardat gua gato.
Okay, so we gotta be completely stealthy here. Can't be detected until we kill Johnson. The Coercive Acts, sometimes called the Intolerable Acts, were a series of laws passed by British Parliament in response to the Boston Tea Party. Among other things, these laws replaced the elected Massachusetts legislature with an appointed one and closed Boston Harbor until the East India Company was reimbursed for the tea, which, let's be honest, was never going to happen. The acts were a major blow against Massachusetts' economy and self-government. The acts got the name because British Parliament hoped that the crackdown would coerce the citizenry into behaving like good little colonists and stop the violent protest, lest the same thing happened to them. Unfortunately, the acts had the opposite effect. It made it easier for Whigs to argue for independence and difficult for the Loyalists to argue that Parliament had the best interests at heart. It seems nobody likes a bully. Who would have thunk? If I kinda unchecked my letter there for some reason. We did read that for. A letter? For me? That I've already read? No worries whatsoever, Dr. Darling. I hope you have a good night, dude, and a good rest. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I even will have a time to stream tomorrow. Because I have to work the entire day. And then in the evening, Hertha is playing, so got a pretty full day tomorrow. But I hope that I will have some good amount of time over weekend though. I don't really have much planned, so either Saturday or Sunday we're probably gonna do like a nice daytime stream. But yeah, thank you for being here, Dr. Darling. I hope you have a good night. I'll definitely catch you next time. Just gonna check something real quick here. Yeah, I can kill these guys as regular.
Great betrayer.
Peace! Peace! Have I not always been an advocate? Have I not always sought to protect you from harm?
If you wish to protect us, then give us arms, muskets and horses that we might defend ourselves.
War is not the answer.
We remember, Stanwix. We remember you moved the borders. Even today your men dig up the land, showing no regard for those who live upon it. Your words are honeyed, but false. We are not here to negotiate, nor to sell. We are here to tell you and yours to leave these lands.
So be it. I offered you an olive branch, and you knocked it from my hand. Perhaps you'll respond better to the sword.
Are you threatening us?
Yes.
Limit native casualties here. Okay, we gotta be fast. The Treaty of Fort Stanwix. This treaty was meant to resolve ongoing land disputes between the indigenous people and the ever-encroaching colonists. King George III had established a boundary line in 1763, but it had no basis in reality. Colonists were already living west of the line when it was drawn, not to mention the land wasn't really the king's to divvy up. I'm sure that just slipped his mind. Kings can be notoriously forgetful, the poor darlings, when it comes to the rights of others. Members of the Iroquois Confederacy met with William Johnson at the Fort Stanwix to negotiate a new boundary line, on behalf of themselves and other smaller nations like the Shawnee. I use the term negotiate rather lightly. In reality, the Iroquois didn't have much choice in signing the agreement. It was give away some of the land and achieve peace, at least temporarily, or fight a long and drawn-out war. The question was only how much. When the treaty was signed, it was generous to Johnson to say the least, even handing over lands the British had left to the Cherokee earlier the same year. In fact, the Stanwix Treaty was so controversial that the British-run Board of Trade ordered Johnson to renegotiate. He refused. Johnson made a fortune speculating on land. I imagine this treaty was quite a windfall for him. Or I hate this guy. We're taking everything from you, isn't that nice? Or you don't like it? You're mad? Well, sadly, I guess I have to kill you now. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a bully, does it? It sounds more like a lunatic. One that we have to stop. Hello there, Kit Kat. Welcome in. Indeed, back with some AC. With some AC free.
Oh no. What have you done?
Ensured an end to your schemes. You sought to claim these lands for the Templars.
Aye, that we might protect them. Do you think that good King George lies awake at night, hoping that no harm comes to his native subjects. Are that the people of the city care one whit about them? Oh, sure. The colonists are happy to trade when they need food or shelter, or a bit of extra padding for their armies. But when the walls of the city constrict, when there's crops that need soil, when there's no more enemy to fight, we'll see how kind the people are then.
The colonists have no quarrel with the Iroquois.
Not yet, but they will. 'Tis the way of the world. In time, they'll turn. I could have stopped it. I could have saved you all.
You speak of salvation, but you were killing them.
Aye, because they would not listen. And so, it seems, neither will you.
Ayawas ne yatte hagum sare am dahyayu ne skanas izagum haje.
Speak the words, but do you believe them? Seems we've company.
What is it?
A request for aid from Paul Revere. Seems the Redcoats are up to something in Boston. Guess you made an impression on the Sons of Liberty.
They mistake me for one of their own. Please tell Mr. Revere he has my sympathies, but I cannot help at present.
You might wish to reconsider. John Pitcairn is mentioned by name.
Where am I to go?
Mr. Revere's house in Boston. If you'd like, I can...
And I was like, don't tell me more. I'm already off and determined. It's kind of funny how much of a tunnel vision Connor has. Sometimes. Or you got a mod that lets V flip people off when she gets hit by a car, as she should. That's cool. I can only even imagine like all the mods that are released at this point for Cyberpunk. He really said, okay, bet. Yeah, he was ready. Didn't have to tell him twice. Okay, that means we can actually do a bit of Homestead now. And we also have to collect a couple more pack-leg trinkets. But yeah, the mission we're actually looking for is the one for Warren and Prudence. And I think it might be this one over here. And yeah, as you might have already seen, we also now have reached the next year already with 1775. But it's gonna be a pretty long year. I think there's a lot of mission. Yeah, between 75 and 76 is probably like the biggest bulk of missions.
Connor! Thank God you are here.
Prudence's Primrose.
Prudence is missing. She went out to gather some things this morning and never returned. I'm worried sick. What if she's hurt?
I will find her.
The dog might help track her down. He has a good nose. Come on, boy! He has been gathering the evening primrose almost every night. She is obsessed with the oil it yields. That is all going to stop now. I don't understand why she wants so damn much of the stuff. She picked some here. She can't be far. We should split up to cover more ground. Connor, anything yet? Connor, anything yet?
Thank you so much, Connor. Thank you. I don't want to think what might have happened if you had not arrived. I saw some primrose growing there, and the bear just came charging at me.
Why are you gathering primrose?
Well, Warren and I have been trying to conceive a child for a long time now. I read that evening primrose encourages fertility. I'm sorry, this is not a proper conversation given the circumstance.
I understand. Not another word on the matter.
Prudence! Where are
Thank you.
Prudence! Are you all right, my love?
I'll be fine. Thanks to Connor.
Thank you, Connor. Once again.
Okay, let's talk to both of them again.
Hello, Connor.
Hello.
Is something the matter?
No, nothing that need worry you.
I would not pry, but please know that if there was anything I could do to help, I would.
It's all right. Connor already knows half of it. As you know, we've been trying to have a child, Connor, for a long time. Thus far, we've not been blessed even once. It takes its toll after a time.
You must not force such things. Nature will grant you with a young one when the time is right.
We hope you're right, Connor. At the very least, we are at peace here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot already. You know, having a place where you feel like you're really at home and safe. You know, one of the reasons it didn't work out before could also have been that they, you know, never did actually have that safety. And feeling like, you know, they have a place they can really set it down with. Okay, we can also do the next Myriam mission, which I believe should be this one over here. White trophy.
Could you make a little more noise? Been fixing to trap a cougar I've seen prowling about. The beast has snapped 2 of my snares already. From what I've seen, its fur is white, mad as it sounds. Its hide would be worth a fortune to the right person.
I have never seen a cougar like that. I would like to help you.
I'll follow you then. Stay quiet. Got his trail yet? Got his trail yet? Look at the size of those claw marks. Better shoot true.
Hello there, Assertive. Welcome in, dude. Thank you so much for the raid. And welcome in, raiders. How is it going? How was your stream today? And yeah, welcome in everyone to some AC3. We're playing through history, one game at a time. Hello there, Frozy. Welcome in as well. Thank you so much for joining in with a raid. Hello there, Assertive. How's it going today? How was the stream? Hello there, Chief Beef. The best AC game for real. I really love AC3, I have to say. It's not a perfect game for me, but you know, the things that it does well, I really enjoy and love a lot. And yeah, for anyone who hasn't checked out Assertive's channel, then definitely recommend doing so. Really lovely dude. Can definitely recommend checking out. You definitely have a nice time and conversations over there. Playing lots of Dead by Daylight, but also checking out new games every now and then. So yeah. Definitely have a look over if you haven't checked out Assertive's channel. And yeah, my trip was really good, Assertive. It was quite surreal, you know, visiting London and seeing like all the landmarks and being the places I've seen only in games before. And movies, I guess, you know. But yeah, it was really good. I quite enjoyed it and definitely looking forward to return eventually, maybe even for a longer time. I wouldn't mind actually staying like a few weeks, you know, in London the next time, so I can just see even more. Stream was good. That's great to hear, Assertive. Did you get hunted or did you play the hunter today? Hello, Vario A+ as well. Welcome in. Thank you also so much for joining in with a raid from Assertive. Hello there, Crikey. Welcome in, dude. Thank you so much. You're definitely having a good stream. We're gonna call it pretty soonish as well, because I gotta work tomorrow and it's pretty late in the evening here. But yeah, it was good to return. We had a bit of a stream break. So it's nice to carry on with the timeline. We now made it into the year 1775. And yeah, I don't blame you for this also being one of your favorite AC games. I do definitely have a soft spot for this one. But yeah, as for my favorite AC games, they would have to be Assassin's Creed 2, followed by Assassin's Creed Origins. Because I love the, you know, general story of it and the characters, the writing, the settings, the art direction, the soundtrack. And I think we're also really done good, you know, Assassin's Creed stories. But yeah, those two are my favorites, for sure. Lovely dude, you liar. Nah, you are the one lying. You're lying to yourself. We did actually, yeah, we did meet up with Maxi. We went to Westminster and Buckingham Palace and stuff and went through the parks. And we also went to Chinatown and had some really nice, authentic Chinese food. Assertive, we started by playing Peak. We're having a friendly competition with Sunday on racing who can beat it solo the fastest. But the maps were terrible today, so we swapped to Dead by Daylight after a lot of frustration and dying. Ah, gotcha. That's definitely fair. But it's nice to have like a, you know, second plan type of game in your back pocket. When you kind of like feel the need to kind of like, you know, switch it up a bit. That sounds like a fun time, you know, having like a competition this weekend. Maybe I can catch a bit of it and have a look. Is it Frozy? Very cool. Yeah, I really like AC3. Was quite a different type of AC game, you know, like previous ones really focus more like rich historical European metropolitan areas. And with this one we had like, you know, much more nature and like lots of forests and wildlife and all of it. And more like, you know, like very different types of cities, of course. But I really love it. It's a very different feeling. Kind of like Red Dead Redemption meets Assassin's Creed.
Taste for fresh meat. Seen this before. Looks fresh. He's close. There he goes! We won't get another chance at this. Come on, Connor. We won't see him again after this. This is our only shot. Hurry up!
You must be here for my new friend. I was dumping a load and he went straight in. Lucky I wasn't in there.
Very. What are you thinking, Myriam?
Flush and fire. Norris can back off. One of us goes in there to draw him out, and the other waits out here to shoot.
I will go in.
That's a sound plan, isn't it? Just go straight into the mouth of a beast. Sounds good, assertive. Yeah, I'll keep my eyes open on Twitch. Gonna have a pretty nice chill weekend, so we'll definitely have a bit of time to chill on Twitch, for sure.
Nice shot!
Thank you, Myriam.
Yeah, don't fuck with Myriam. She's the best shot that the Homestead has. No worries whatsoever, assertive. Definitely enjoy your food and the lurk as well. Thank you again so much for the raid and for bringing your folks over. And definitely enjoy the post-stream, you know, chill time and get in some nice food as well. I hope you enjoy. I mainly stream Assassin's Creed. It's definitely my favorite kind of like gaming series, and it's my most played type of game that I play on the channel. But at the moment, I'm kind of like doing a bigger historical project where I play through a bunch of dozen different historical games, and I play them in historical order. So that includes about, I guess, 14 Assassin's Creed games, but it's about 50 to 60 games total. So there's like a lot of other historical games as well that I'm kind of like including. And we started like 10 million years ago with like, you know, the beginning of evolution, pretty much. Then at like a long time jump into like, you know, early pre-civilization, like Egypt and stuff. And we kind of like worked our way up from there. And yeah, now we are, let me actually have a look at the list. We have played 32 games and we got another 20 games to go. And yeah, made it to the year 1775, so it's been definitely a long time coming, for sure. We started this whole project like over 1.5 years ago now, actually. So yeah, at the moment playing definitely quite a bit of Assassin's Creed because there's a lot in the 18th century. But overall speaking, I guess I'm focusing just in general like on historical games at the moment. I kind of love, you know, history in games and kind of love the learning effect of like, you know, using also games for like educational purposes. Even if I like, you know, not really historically accurate at all. I think there's still something you can learn about the history sometimes. You know, even if you look at things like how they not were, I guess, according to the game. But, yeah, I definitely quite like seeing like historical settings in games. Definitely one of those reasons I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed so much as well. Cheers, assertive, for trying to explain it as well. Thanks, Cracky. Yeah, it's kind of like been a project that I've been working on for a while, like in my head, you know. I've done like a historical order run previously with just the Assassin's Creed games, for instance. That was like one of my first projects actually when I started streaming. Like quite a few years ago now. But yeah, taking it to this level of like including, you know, all the other games as well that I'm like potentially interested in. Was something yeah, that it didn't really start until quite a few years later. Thank you, Frozy. Yeah, it definitely is, you know, and the AC games are also really cool in the regard that they provide so much that you can learn about and read about. Since they have the Animist database, and when you come across like a landmark or you witness like a historical event, then you can read up about it. So that's what we're also doing, like, you know, learning about the Tea Party and the different, you know, kind of acts and factions and stuff. And yeah, the different people, groups, and individuals. Speaking of which, we do actually have an update for William Johnson, now that he's dead and assassinated. Dead and buried. But only like a small paragraph though. Thank you also for follow Frozy. Thank you, I really appreciate that. Just like Connor, one could say Crocodiles is branching out, pun intended. Indeed, Zomb. Indeed. In case you're wondering, the official reason for Johnson's death was given out as a stroke. I guess publicizing that he was killed while threatening to murder treaty negotiators would probably have caused some political tensions, to put it mildly. I suppose a blow to the head, for example, could be described as a very heavy stroke. Yeah, I guess technically, Sean, you're not wrong. Technically speaking. Okay, we're gonna do one more Homestead mission before we're calling it for tonight here. It's like one of these two. It's gonna be a bit funny because one of them is like feeling really urgent. Because they're like, Connor, please help us and stuff. But I actually can't do it until much later in the timeline. So it's a bit awkward, kind of like ignoring the guys because according to the game, they're in desperate need of, you know, help. But yeah, I can't help them yet. History doesn't allow it.
I make my own luck.
I guess one could say he had a stroke of bad luck. Probably should have taken lessons from Shay and make his own luck. And that's the thing with Shay, you know, he likes to say he makes his own luck, but I never actually see him doing it. The room at the inn.
Hello, sir. Would you like a draft of ale or some bread and cheese?
Connor, this here is Oliver, and that is Corrine. Great people. Ollie, this is Connor, the man I was talking about. The Lord of the Manor.
We were passing through is all and met some of your townsfolk. They were thirsty and we had some barrels in the back.
I am no lord, and these are my friends, not my townsfolk. What brings you to the road with a cart full of spirits for sale?
We were innkeepers until the king took our inn for some military such and such, left us out in a round bar.
Hey, you should settle here. We could use an inn.
Good idea.
We would, but without the inn itself, we don't have much choice, and building one isn't cheap.
We certainly have a need for something of the sort. I will speak with my friends at the mill and see what we can do about building ourselves one. If it can be arranged, would you consider ending your search here?
Of course, Ollie. We'll have an inn again.
I mean, for 1,000 bucks, that's a bargain. Our own personal inn. And you can tell that all the townsfolk and homesteaders will be super pleased about it. It's kind of funny, you know, hearing that woman in the background being like, Connor, please help us. Please. Even while the cutscene was happening. But yeah, I'm so sorry. I can't help you yet.
This should suffice.
Thank you. You won't regret this, Connor. We promise.
And there we go. Our own personal inn. Quite a big building, to say the least. 3 levels of rooms. And a pretty cool, like, Easter egg, I guess you could say, about the inn is the fact that it's called Mouth's End. And you could make the interpretation that it's actually a reference to Desmond Mouths. And AC3, you know, being his ending game because, yeah, it's the last one featuring Desmond Mouths as the main modern-day protagonist. Indeed, it is a bargain. It definitely is. Indeed. Hello, Vaave. Welcome in, dude. Good evening. Yeah, AC3 is going pretty good. We made it already into the year 1775, even though we did just a few missions, really. But the main story did quite a jump there. We finally got our first assassination target with William Johnson. Good to take him down. And yeah, next time we're gonna start on sequence 7 of this game. Then it's time for the infamous Midnight Ride with Paul Revere. Everyone's favorite mission in this game. I believe we're on the right way. How's it going for you, Ave? Pun intended, and there again too. That's a good thing about "in" as a word, because you can definitely make a lot of puns with that one. You heard Mouths and your mind went straight to Miles Morales. Like what? Desmond? Ave? Desmond? I mean, that's another great Mouths, to be fair. I've been actually thinking about Miles Morales recently. After going to London for the weekend, you know, Christmas is actually being celebrated like very early in London, apparently, or in England, or at least the preparation for it. It seems like once Halloween is over, the next day they're already starting to think about Christmas, really. There were like so many like Christmas decorations and like markets already, but it kind of reminded me of Miles Morales because it's set around Christmas time, isn't it? It's kind of like one of those games I always kind of like associate with Christmas in a way. And I guess if you actually have a financial district of London, then you also have like quite a few like, you know, skyscrapers and stuff. So it's like more reminiscent of some of the New York kind of like vibes. The William Johnson assassination is awesome. I really like it a lot. I do also like that it's one of those that makes you play stealthy. Even though it's not like the most difficult to stealth, but I do like the whole infiltration and like listening to the dialogue and, you know, doing the air assassination. I said that about Desmond, now you said. Yeah, thinking about it in retrospective, I do also get a bit sad about the whole thing. You know, back when AC3 launched in 2012 and I played it, I remember quite a few of my friends were actually quite upset with Desmond dying. But I didn't mind it too much, you know, because I felt like, yeah, I mean, it sucks, you know, I didn't root for him to die. But I felt like that doesn't have to say anything about the modern day story, you know, being crap afterwards. I mean, they can, you know, carry on telling the story without Desmond, you know. Even if he's been like a major part of it, but I could totally understand why Desmond chose to do what he did. So I was kind of like fine with it from that standpoint, but yeah, I didn't really think that the modern day would develop into that direction though. Oh, that's really cool, Ava. Oh yeah, dude. And yeah, I don't blame you one bit. I feel the same way, you know, I can't wait for a weekend to arrive. Between like last week and this week and also like traveling, you know, I didn't really have like much of a kind of like chill day. So I can't wait for the weekend to come. And just to like nothing much except what I want to do. And that's really cool as well that Expedition 33 did, you know, get so many awards there. I didn't actually realize that the Golden Joystick Awards were today. So they won Best Narrative, Best Studio, Best Lead Performance, Best Supporting Performance, Best Game, Best Visual Design, and something else you do not remember currently. Damn. Yeah, it's quite impressive. Like, not only how many nominations the game is getting, but yeah, I mean, looking at how much they're winning there. Definitely curious about how they're gonna do at the Game Awards. But I'm really happy for the game and for the team as well behind it. It's great to see when, you know, kind of like a passion project is being rewarded like that. Best music, understandable. Yeah, that's really cool. Well deserved indeed. Alright, so we're now at 34% total completion. We have sequence 6 now finished, so next time we can get started on sequence 7. And yeah, also quite a bit more of the side missions here. Well, to be fair, a lot of the side missions coming up now are more like guild contracts. And we learned that we can't really do them in the order we designed them in. So they won't matter too much or interfere with the main story. Before we go ahead and start sequence 7, we're gonna do one more Pack-Lag mission and one more Homestead mission, and then it's gonna be pretty much main story focus for sequence 7 there. So yeah, we're gonna get on that on the weekend, but for tonight, this is gonna be everything I will be covering though. But yeah. The game crash? I thought it was only going back to the main menu. Well, never mind. I wanted to quit the game either way. That is fine. Sadly, the critics' best game was Donkey Kong. You hope that isn't foreshadowing the main show, where 90% of votes come from critics. Yeah, that's the other thing, you know. And I feel like some games are also maybe, you know, more in the spotlight because they represent a certain crowd, you know. I mean, I haven't played the Donkey Kong game, but I mean, the fact that it's kind of like, you know, from Nintendo and the platform there is probably like also a bit of a representation type of deal, I would imagine. The game said, you said you're done, so you're done. Close it now. We're done when I say we're done. Thank you so much everyone for joining us tonight for a short session of AC3. We didn't like, you know, play like a whole lot of a game or like missions, but that's alright. It was good to kind of like just hop on and carry on, you know, even if it's just for a bit. And yeah, on the weekend I definitely plan on doing like one proper daytime stream, either Saturday or Sunday. And then we're gonna make some proper progress. You've had problems with Nintendo ever since the Power Watch business, and then wanting to own gameplay mechanics, like what? How scared can a company be of competition? Yeah, it's definitely like one of those things I would probably want to exemplify, like how do you say? Well, they wanna probably like take like a you know, case to warn all the other, you know, companies or developers from trying to attempt something similar. But yeah, I do also not like those practices of like trying to own, you know, creative thinking, you know. It's not like Nintendo has invented the wheel either. And, you know, they're also kind of like borrowing or have borrowed mechanics from like other games, developers, ideas, you know. It does remind me a little bit of, for example, the Middle-earth games, you know, Shadow of Mordor and War, where they did a patent on the whole Nemesis system. And now, you know, the studio has been dissolved and we're not doing games anymore. Yet the patent still lies with Warner Bros., I think, about that specific gameplay mechanic. No one else can legally use it in their games, unless that situation has changed. And yeah, that can just be, you know, poison for some of the game developers, you know, being like directly prevented from incorporating your own version of it. But yeah, that's kind of what Nintendo reminds me of. They'll probably do that as well if they could. Hello there, Stardust, welcome in. No worries about the late join. Thank you so much for being here regardless. Hope you're having a good day and evening. Yeah, no worries, Ava. Thank you also for joining. Sorry that I had to cut it short again after you joined, but yeah, it's getting pretty late here. Still gotta work tomorrow and stuff, so this is where we're gonna call it tonight. No worries, Ava Aura, for the stream. Thank you for being here as well. Yeah, it really does, you know, like when those kind of things get patented and it prevents others from, you know, kind of like trying something similar. Just annoying. Okay, just having a look who's online we could raid tonight. And I do see Arctic playing some Ghost of Yotei. He's actually doing a lethal run for the game. So that's a difficulty where everyone dies in like just a few hits, but also so do you. So in a way, it makes fighting enemies, you know, slightly easier, but you also have to be super careful not to be hit, because even like 1 or 2 hits could mean, you know, that you will die very soon. So we're gonna go raid over to Arctic tonight and see how he's doing with that lethal run. Cheers, Arthur, I really appreciate it. Yeah, pretty late over here. But thank you so much for dropping by and saying hi. And I definitely hope that, you know, you have a great start to your weekend, that you can also like relax a bit from a busy week. Cheers, Aura. Yeah, either Saturday or Sunday. I'm not quite sure yet. Kinda like gonna see what plans you might be having for weekend, if any. But I think it's just gonna be like a really chill one, to be honest. It's been like so busy and like being away that I don't really wanna leave the house too much. I haven't heard too much about the DLC yet, Ave. Like at least story-wise. But that's good for that it's supposed to be, you know, decent at least. I heard a pretty major critique point though, that motion blur on consoles is like auto-enabled and it activates when sprinting or something. Which makes some people like really motion sick that they have to like stop playing. But apparently Ubisoft Bordeaux is already working on making like a toggle for that. That's a good thing about Bordeaux, you know, they're really like open to the community feedback and work on, you know, fixing that kind of stuff like quickly. But it makes you wonder why they did it in the first place, you know, like forcing motion blur like that. Because some people can be quite sensitive to it. If you want to join us with a raid over to Arctic or some Ghost of Yotei with his lethal run, then feel free to copy and paste these raid emotes. And yeah, I will catch you guys on the weekend again for the next stream of AC3 and the continuation of the year 1775. Until then, I hope everyone has a good rest of the evening and day, and I catch you guys in the next one. Until then.